Right now on IUSTV News, Debate Night. Tim Walz and JD Vance meet face-to-face to debate for the only time during the presidential election. We have what you should look out for.
Plus, the IU School of Education makes major changes to curriculums to meet new state literacy standards. We walk you through some of the updates.
And e-scooter and bike thefts on campus are once again on the rise. What you can do to keep yours protected. We start IUSTV News with breaking news out of the Middle East, where Iran has launched a wide-scale airstrike on Israel. The air attack comes just days after Israel launched their own airstrikes in Lebanon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ashley Voss.
And I'm Emma Gladstone. Here's what we know so far. Israel's military says Iran launched about 180 missiles at the country Tuesday. Reporters in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem counted dozens of missiles flying above them late Tuesday.
Iranian media reports Iran targeted Israel in response to the killing of a top Hezbollah leaders, a militant group backed by Iran.
Dozens of missiles were intercepted, but it's unclear how many. The attacks reportedly killed one Palestinian, but so far no Israeli deaths have been reported. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the attack was defeated and ineffective.
This is totally unacceptable, and the entire world should condemn it. We have demonstrated once again our commitment to Israel's defense. We'll remain in very close touch with Israel and other partners in the region.
The Israeli military says some missiles made direct impact in central and southern Israel. The country hinted at possible retaliation.
The race for president now. We are just 34 days away from Election Day, and tonight a high-stakes face-off between the nation's two vice presidential nominees.
We are just a few hours away from the debate featuring Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Ohio Senator JD Vance. Brian Abel reports on the debate rules and the campaign strategies before tonight's showdown in New York.
Tonight, the high-stakes undercard battle between vice presidential nominees, Democratic Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Republican U.S. Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio. The first and only scheduled debate between the two, with both campaigns trying to win over undecided voters in the final leg of this election. The CBS-moderated debate will be 90 minutes, with both candidates getting 2 minutes for closing arguments. No pre-written notes allowed. The Harris-Walz campaign signaling early they want this debate to be about the issues they believe played to their advantage.
JD Vance, who's about to be on the debate stage, came out and announced what that plan was, and it was putting people with pre-existing conditions back into these high-risk pools that cost them more money and could actually eliminate their health care coverage.
The Trump-Vance campaign in a press call using a similar tactic.
JD won't let him get away with it. From the border to the economy to American leadership on the world stage.
The presidential nominees and the president showing confidence in the performances of their party's VP nominees ahead of the showdown.
Mr. President, any advice for Tim Walz on Tuesday? Did you offer him any personal advice?
No, he doesn't need it. I will. But we've been speaking a little bit back and forth. I think he's in good shape.
In New York, I'm Brian Abel reporting.
Tonight's debate begins at 9 on CBS. Well, we are just 34 days away from Election Day, and early voting in the Hoosier State starts next week.
That means the last day to register to vote in Indiana is next Monday. Monroe County residents can vote either in person, online through the voter portal, or by mail. Mail-in forms may be sent to the voter registration by October 7th.
You can also register in person there or at the BMV. Early voting begins next Tuesday.
Thousands of voters in Arizona were affected following a glitch. On Monday, the Arizona Secretary of State's office announced that AZ era impacted 218,000 voters. Earlier this month, 97,000 voters were mistakenly marked as having provided documentation proving their citizenship. But that documentation is not required to cast ballots for federal office in the state. so the error does not impact anyone's ability to vote in the 2024 presidential election. However, the glitch could affect state legislative races and Arizona's ballot on abortion rights.
Democrats in Georgia are suing the state election board over a new rule requiring counties to hand count election day votes casted at polling places. They argue the hand counting rule conflicts with state law. 3 Trump allies on the board approved the new rule last month in a 3-2 vote. Democrats argue large counties will face significant delays in reporting vote counts should the rule be implemented. IUSTV is your home for the 2024 election. We will have you covered on all of the latest headlines up to and on Election Day. You can find more on IUSTV.com. There are new big changes in IU's School of Education.
The school has changed their curriculum to fit new state literacy requirements. Our Sydney Moore talked with future teachers who say, although this change is scary, they are hoping it will help students struggling to read.
33% of all teachers in the state are IU grads. When this change came about, IU was quick to recover, revising 64 literacy courses in just 6 months. This means all teachers that receive their license after June 30th, 2025 will be required to have a state literacy endorsement if they are teaching students between pre-K and 6th grade.
It's definitely scary because no one's used to it. Obviously, all the teachers that aren't teachers right now are also learning it too, so it's kind of new for everybody.
Currently in the state, 77% of 4th graders are struggling with reading. To combat this issue, school districts across the state are adopting the science of reading-based curriculum.
I've noticed a shift in more of a change on the importance of picture books and actually how foundational that is in building students' early literacy skills, especially with upper elementary grades. We talk a lot about the importance of still reading with 4th, 5th, and 6th graders because they are at that age where we think they're more liable to fall off the wagon, so to speak, when it comes to their literacy skills.
This method provides instructional practices that focus on phonics, phonemic awareness, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension.
We do know that there is a literacy problem and kids don't know how to read, so hopefully this new curriculum fixes that.
Science-based reading will come to schools across the state beginning next year. This will make Indiana one of 39 states using the new curriculum. In Bloomington, I'm Sydney Moore, IUSTV News.
IU met with literacy experts and national reviewers to ensure their curriculum follows the guidelines of the new change. New today, the university has put the IU Indian Student Association on cease and desist. The Office of Student Life says it is because of hazing and alcohol violations. The organization must suspend all activities until further notice. ISA declined when asked for a comment. An IU spokesperson said the investigation is still open.
Nearly all elected officials in Monroe County met today to get an update on the Convention Center expansion project. The Bloomington City Council, Monroe County Commissioners, and Bloomington Mayor Carrie Thompson were brought up to speed on where the project stands. The $52 million project would bring an additional 60,000 square feet. The current site is to the east of the current convention center between College Avenue and Walnut Street. The meeting begins at 10:30 Tuesday morning. The county hopes to break ground in the spring.
The e-scooter changes comes as IUPD investigates a string of thefts involving electric scooters. A crime notice was sent to students. IU police said on September 15th and 22nd, a bike was stolen from the bike racks in Foster Hall. In both cases, a cable lock was cut. Another e-scooter was stolen from the Woodburn Hall bike rack on September 18th. Then, on September 24th, an e-scooter was stolen outside Memorial Stadium. 2 more thefts were reported at Forest Hall on both September 23rd and 24th. IU police have a list of tips you can use to help keep your bike or scooter safe. Record the make, model, and serial number of your bike. You should also use at least one IU-style bike lock when locking up your bike. Lock both wheels and frame to the bike rack and remove the seat. It's also important to lock your bike on a rack in the well-lit area.
Flu shot clinics on campus are back for the month of October. The Student Health Center is offering free flu shots throughout flu season to encourage Bloomington to stay healthy. The flu shots are free and available for enrolled students, faculty, and staff for IU. These shots are by appointment only and must be scheduled online. We've got a list of dates and times for you posted on this story on IUSTV.com.
Here's two things you might not have thought go together: cats and clothes.
Still ahead, how one Bloomington business is helping people take home more than just a new shirt. Plus, winter is inching closer. Why new numbers show it could cost you more to heat your home when colder weather nears.
But first, former President Jimmy Carter is celebrating a major milestone. The birthday celebration's underway as Carter turns 100. We're back in a few.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
It has been nearly 50 years since Jimmy Carter was sworn in as president in 1977. That's nearly half a life ago for the former president. Today, Carter is celebrating his 100th birthday. He is now the first U.S. president to hit the centennial mark. Carter has been in hospice care since February 2023. He has survived brain and liver cancer and underwent brain surgery after a fall in 2019. Many celebrations are being held today to celebrate in his hometown of Plains, Georgia. Family members say his birthday wish is to vote in the upcoming presidential election. Cats and vintage clothes, two things people in Bloomington love.
And as our Lacey Carr explains, they're becoming even easier to enjoy thanks to a local couple. The Cat's Closet.
The Cat's Closet, Bloomington's first cat cafe, is not new, but its owners are finding new ways to connect the city with their two passions.
Around the same time that we started selling vintage, we visited our first cat cafe, and we just really fell in love with the concept, and we knew that was something we wanted to do someday. We thought, why wait for something cool like that to come to Bloomington and let someone else do it first? Let's just combine the two things that we want to do.
The local couple partnered with the Greene County Animal Shelter in 2021 to make cat adoption even more accessible.
This is the Cat Lounge at the Cat's Closet, where Bloomington residents can relax, study, and play with their favorite adoptable feline friends for just a few dollars each session.
Since their start, the Cat's Closet has helped more than 175 cats find their forever homes. To help make a name for themselves, the Cat's Closet started hosting different events. One of the events, which was started in April of this year, is called Catterday and hosts different local vendors, food trucks, and music to help promote small businesses and cat adoptions. Brittany Evans, who had recently lost her cat, came to the September Catterday event and found exactly what she was looking for.
I love to come here. I felt like that would make me feel better. And I saw this cat, and she looked just like my cat, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. It was love at first sight.
Love at first sight. One feeling that more than 175 people have felt because of the Cat's Closet.
That was Lacey Carr reporting. The Cat's Closet is hosting their next Catterday event on November 2nd. For more information on events and times for lounge reservations, search thecatscloset1.com.
A nationwide strike of thousands of port workers could make it difficult getting everyday goods. Workers from Boston to Houston went on strike just after midnight. It has the potential of being the most disruptive strike the U.S. has experienced in more than 4 decades. Workers from the International Longshoremen's Association walked off just after midnight Tuesday. They're asking for higher pay and to continue the current ban of fully automated equipment.
If we have to be out here a month or 2 months, this world will collapse. Don't blame them. Don't blame me. Blame them.
Economists worry a 1-week strike could cost the economy more than $2 billion. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce sent a letter to President Joe Biden calling for him to use the Taft-Hartley Act, which forces longshore workers back on the job. Biden refused, saying it's collective bargaining.
Americans in Northeast and here in the Midwest could see a spike in home heating expenses this winter. Experts are predicting an at least 10% bump to your home heating bill. People who heat their homes with electricity will get hit the hardest by this spike. possibly seeing a raise of at least 13%. Projections say heating with gas or propane will increase by 7%, and people who heat with oil will see a 6% increase. This increase is due to the cost of maintaining and upgrading the electric grid.
The first woman president to be elected in Mexico has officially been sworn into office. Claudia Sheinbaum received the presidential sash on Tuesday. Sheinbaum won the June election in a landslide. She is a member of the country's left-wing movement. She will serve a 6-year term. Next on IUSTV News, new data shows breast cancer deaths are on the decline. What's leading the change? In today's Health Minute.
Plus, can we see more of those gorgeous rays of sunshine throughout the rest of the week? Grace has a check of the forecast on the other side of the break.
Behind cancers of the skin, it's the most common cancer in U.S. women, breast cancer.
But a new report released today finds the number of women dying from the disease has dropped substantially over the past 35 years. Mandy Gaylor has a look at the new data and what experts say needs to be done to close the disparity gap.
It's good news, but also bad. First, a new American Cancer Society report reveals overall breast cancer death rates have plummeted 44% in the past 35 years.
Which is really a dramatic decrease. And we think that's, over 500,000 breast cancer deaths have been averted, which is really spectacular.
But researchers also discovered an upward trend in breast cancer incidence, with the steepest increase in women younger than 50, rising by 1% each year between 2012 and 2021, and Asian American and Pacific Islander women of any age increasing in that time by up to 2.7% a year. The report also says that while more white women are diagnosed with breast cancer, more black women die from it, especially young black women.
So if you're a black woman between the ages of 20 and 29, you're really 2 times more likely to die of breast cancer than your white classmate or your white colleague.
Dr. William Dayhut believes screenings and new treatments have led to the overall breast cancer death rate drop, but he says closing the disparity gaps for all women will take more research.
What is driving the cancer risk, whether it's obesity, changes in childbearing habits, or really whether it's a lot of it may be driven to really access to the right kind of care.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Turning to weather now, the sun has finally returned to southern Indiana.
I mean, in my opinion, I kind of did get rained on a little bit walking over here today, so I'm not sure how sunny it is, but hopefully next week the forecast is looking a little bit better. Grace?
Luckily it is. We're going to see a lot of sun just in time for the first day of October, which is today, by the way. So get the pumpkin spice lattes out.
Happy fall.
It's fall time, guys. Tomorrow, at 8 a.m., we're starting with some cold temperatures in the low 50s, but by the time we get to the afternoon at 4 p.m., we're looking at the 70s, so make sure you have your layers on because we're starting cold, but it's going to get warm towards the end of the day. Moving on to the weekend where we have our football game against Northwestern. It's the same thing, guys. We're starting at 50 in the morning. By the afternoon, we're going to be at 70. So make sure you have those layers because once it's kickoff, it's going to be 71 degrees. That's perfect football weather. Looking for our 7-day forecast. At the end of the week here, we have high 70s, 77 to 75, with lows of 52 to 61. But towards the beginning of next week, we're going to see temperatures in 65 area. So it's going to cool down a little bit just in time for fall, but hopefully not too much where we need our coats just yet.
Definitely. I mean, I'm from Florida, so I'm very used to this heat, and I've been complaining about it a little too much, but knowing myself, I will start complaining as the temperatures start to drop. But I do love fall, so there's that.
Hopefully it'll be warm for our next football game.
Yes.
Next in sports, your Indiana Hoosiers are officially ranked in the top 25. Allie has the recap in sports. Stay with us.
For the first time in 57 years, Indiana football sits 5-0 at the start of the season. I'm Allie Holm, and this is a look at sports. Not only are the Hoosiers off to an undefeated start this year, but also entered Week 6 ranked 23rd in the country. It's the first time since 2021 that the Hoosiers broke into the top 25. It was a wet and rainy conditions for the Saturday's game against the Terrapins, and the Hoosiers had a slippery start. Coming into Week 5, Indiana had 0 turnovers. By the end of the game, the Hoosiers turned over the ball over 3 times. IU would knock back in the second half, eventually pulling away for a 42-28 win. Signetti attributing energy from the fans for helping the Hoosiers get over that hump.
There's a lot of corrections to make, but it was a good effort, a gutty effort. You could feel the fans out there. I'm glad that they, keep improving in the attendance area. I thought that was a good turnout, and good's the enemy of great. So let's have a great turnout. Let's sell it out. Let's sell it out next week, or next time we're at home, and figure out how to make it even louder.
The Hoosiers are back on the road taking on Northwestern at 3:30 on Saturday. IU men's soccer team fought hard against number 4 ranked Ohio State in a nail-biting match that ended in a 2-2 draw. The game was intense as IU came back twice from a 1-goal deficit. Senior forward Samuel Sarver and Tommy Mihalik both found the net, with Mihalik's 80th minute equalizer sealing the tie. Defensively, senior goalkeeper JT Harms made 6 crucial saves, and Alec Barger's late clearance kept the score level. With this draw, IU snapped Ohio State's 7-game winning streak, and up next the Hoosiers face number 8 Wisconsin tonight. And all things latest on IU sports, be sure to tune in each week to the Hoosier Sports Night. You can catch it Thursdays on IUSTV. That's all for sports, and back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Allie.
Let's get one last check of that 7-day forecast, Grace.
That's right, guys. We are going to be seeing some temperatures in the 70s this week. Despite it being sunny, it is not going to be warm. Perfect, just in time for October. We are going to be waking up to some lower temperatures in the 50s and 60s, but nothing too cold that we can't handle.
I cannot wait for this fall weather. I have honestly been waiting for it since the end of summer, but
me too. As long as it's not snowing, then I'll be happy.
I agree with that. Fall weather, need that. But thank you, Grace, and thank you guys for watching IUSTV News.
For updates between newscasts, check out IUSTV.com. And we'll look forward to seeing you back here on Thursday. See you then.